Christina got a new job in the city. Because of work, she moved into a little apartment in the city. It was the last day of April when she found a dog lying on the street. The dog was not doing so well. He had trouble breathing and couldn't even move. He was all skin and bone. It seemed like the dog hadn't eaten for a long time. Christina noticed a number of injuries all over his body. The dog saw Christina. His poor eyes were still full of life. Although he couldn't get up, he wagged his tail for Christina. She couldn't leave the dog to die. So Christina took the dog to the vet. The two became close, like family. The dog recovered quickly in his new sweet home. He even got a new name, Patrache, but Christina called him Pat for short. Pat was such a lovely dog. They were always together. Christina spent most of her time with Pat. Pat loved her so much. He always remembered how she saved his life. For Pat, there was nothing happier than being with his mama, Christina. However, the family had a problem. Pat was too big. Actually, he was huge. If she wanted to live with Pat, Christina had to leave her apartment. Pat needed a big space and somewhere near the park to play. However, with Christina's budget, it was impossible to find their home in the city. Even if Christina found a good house, the homeowner wouldn't allow Pat to live there. Her friends suggested to give Pat up for adoption, but she couldn't send Pat away.
I'm gonna find our new home. Just maybe not somewhere in the city.
It was also hard to find a pet-friendly house outside the city. But she found a place, finally, with a condition that Pat had to live outside in the yard. There was no other option left for Christina. She agreed and moved into the house. She hugged Pat tightly.
Sorry, Pat. I promise we'll move out soon. To our very own sweet home, where we'll be together just like before.
In the night, Pat barked a lot. Sleeping outside might have made him nervous. The homeowner complained about Pat's barking in the night. Pat was aggressive against him and barked so much. It was the first time that Christina saw this side of Pat, and she was surprised. The homeowner warned Christina, "If the dog's barking is not resolved, you'd better find another house." Christina took Pat to the vet to find out why he became so aggressive. However, nothing was wrong with his health, and she failed to find any reason. The next night, Pat barked again. The next day, the guy living next door came over. He brought an electric dog collar and said it was helpful for his dog. He recommended Christina to use it to reduce Pat's barking. But Christina did not agree with that. Pat looked very upset at the guy and barked aggressively. And Another day passed. It was the guy from the house across the street. He complained about Pat's barking. Pat also barked aggressively toward him. He was very offensive against the guy. Even though Christina denied the idea, the neighbor guys came to her every day to try to change her mind.
Sorry, Pat.
Finally, Christina was persuaded to put the electric collar on Pat's neck. It was too cruel to hear Pat's crying every night. He barked and cried because of the electric shock. He barked again and cried. Christina's heart was broken, but there was nothing she could do. She passionately looked for their next home. Whenever Pat cried, Christina came out and hugged him.
I'm looking for a new home. We'll move out soon. Just give me a little more time, okay, Pat?
She cried with Pat. A few days later, Pat didn't bark at all. Christina felt relieved and fell into a deep sleep. But Pat, outside, was aggressive and alert against something, which happened to be the guys. They came again. They checked to see if the dog would bark at them, and then they headed into Christina's home. If that stupid dog didn't make so much noise, we would have done this earlier. The homeowner unlocked the door with the spare key. And Christina's screams and Pat's crying filled the night air. This is not the ending you expected, right? Here's what really happened. They came again. They checked to see if the dog would bark at them. And then they headed into Christina's home. But they didn't know that the silent dog still had sharp teeth. The bad guy's screams madly resonated all night long.
Patrashe!